Here with Ashley Hendricks. And Ashley is a mom who works from home full time in this industry. You've likely seen her online. She is amazing. Her spirit is awesome. She's just somebody that I gravitated towards just because of her positivity, what she's able to do with her team, the way she interacts with them, and the fact that she's a mom who is managing to do this all from home, take care of her daughter, and she's just awesome. So, hi, Ashley.
Hi, Angel. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being on here. I really appreciate it. I think you'll really connect to the people that watch my blog and come here and read it just because you're not only just a woman, but a mom doing this. And I would love for you to share a bit of your story with people, if you don't mind, how you started and maybe a bit of the struggle or steps that you took to be able to go full time.
Yeah, sure. So for me, I was one of the few who are crazy enough to try to dive in full time right away, and it wasn't necessarily um, that I had aspired to be, a full time work from home mother. It was that I really didn't see any other way for me. So during the most difficult time of my life, which was I was during my divorce. About 6 months into it, I lost my job, and I had just returned to the workforce at that point. About 9 months later, I lost another one, and and so I found myself in a position where I was fighting for custody of her, which was a really, really, really difficult situation because I had been a stay-at-home mom when I was married, and it got nasty. And then of course, losing two jobs, and of course you find yourself in a place where, what am I going to do? Like, I can't keep spinning in this cycle where somebody else is determining whether or not I even have the ability to work, or to earn any kind of income. I had, put school on hold for my family, and so I really didn't see anywhere else to go, and so I saw this opportunity, and I decided I'd run with it. And it was incredibly difficult. It was a huge learning curve. The company that I started out with was a good one, but it wasn't an easy sell. And in network marketing, you've got to have a product that really kind of explains itself, that's a no-brainer. Otherwise, you're going to have a real hard time with duplication. And so I was great with front-end sales, but my team wasn't really growing, and so I started picking up so that I could be full-time and build myself up to full-time. I actually started taking on coaching and consulting work. So I've got a little bit of a background in marketing and business development. And so as I was learning to use the internet, most importantly, because that's where I came to discover this industry and knew that I wanted to build a team online. I started taking what I learned and, taking on clients and, just doing things like that just to pay the bills, putting it all together that way. I did some affiliate marketing while I was building up my network marketing business. And yeah, I just put in that consistent, steady work over time. And, today life is very, very different, but that's not without a lot of struggle, a lot of learning over these past 2.5 years.
Wow, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, you've been in it for a while, right?
Yes.
So it's definitely like for someone coming into it just brand new right now, trying to do what you did. It's been over a period of time. And I think, like, as I don't know, I'm trying to figure it out if it's just because I'm so immersed in the network marketing world that I notice it so much more. It just seemed to be picking up a lot of momentum right now, and so I think, like, a lot of people are getting noticed, and so people are watching people like you who are just awesome and rocking it, and you tend to get that, like what Ray said, that comparitis where you want to be at that point. But it's so awesome to hear you say that you were doing the affiliate marketing and stuff like that, because that's kind of at the point where I am. And I came from a company, I recently switched in about the last 6 months, where I came from a company where it was a hard sell, awesome products, but just no duplication. It was too expensive. It was, all those things that make you just really struggle. So to make that switch and start over again, it's hard, but when you realize that that's what you need to do, it's kind of what you need to do. So that's where I am. So it's trying to get that affiliate marketing going along with the business, and so it's awesome to hear
Yeah,
that.
yeah. If you're going to be crazy enough to try to go full time, I think it's, well, obviously if your company has great resources and there's duplication happening and you've got the great support of a team, if you're wild enough, man, go for it. Like, I know people in my present company, which is also yours, that had their last unemployment check in hand and started the business with that and have never looked back. I was personally on my last bit of unemployment when I got started in the industry, and I didn't even have enough to start. Like I was literally destitute when I was married, and so going and building from nothing. I mean, I've built from nothing. So. Yeah. I think having other things that you do, if you know how to do them and you can keep yourself focused, is fine if you want to actually make a full-on career move, and maybe your company doesn't have the right kind of stuff rocking and rolling, to get you into massive duplication and stuff. I know that if I had started with the company that we're both with now, that I probably would have been able to make that my sole source right away. But not every company necessarily has that magic happening.
Right, I know, and that's kind of like you're honestly one of my sources of inspiration on any given day, because I know your story and I know where you came from, and it's like, okay, if she can do this and she didn't even have the support of someone else in the household, and you were struggling doing all that stuff that was going on in your life, it's like, if she can do it, I can do it. Like, it's just like anytime I feel that pull of like, oh, maybe this is never going to happen, it happens, and it's that determination and that drive, and like you say, that craziness. Like, you got to be a little crazy to do this, and not care what other people think. And I think it's the support of this team and this group of people that want to see you succeed that gets me through this, because if you kind of focus on the negativity of the friends and the family around you, it can really drag you down. So you are honestly my inspiration.
I thank you. I appreciate that. I really think that if you are not in a place in your life where you have hit rock bottom and you have nowhere else to go and you are clinging on to this for dear life, and I'm going to ride this ship to the top, get out of my way, like, if you don't have some kind of force in your life that's creating that polarization in your attitude toward whether or not you're going to succeed, then you need to create one. And I think that's something that a lot of people miss out on. I think if they're not seeing the results that they want, is that they don't have a big enough vision. So like for me, we needed to keep the lights on, but then I've got something much bigger than that I want to accomplish. But like getting those first few sales, getting that first commission check. So many people choose to live inside of their circumstances and allow those to be their excuse, for not getting to where they say they want to be. But when it's do or die, like when it's a matter of I'm either going to do this or we're not going to eat, it changes the way that you go about doing things. Your attitude completely changes, and excuses, objections, sideways looks from people who really weren't your friends in the first place, like all of those things just kind of brush off, like, because I have to survive, and your opinion doesn't pay me. So
That is so true. And those, like, the thing I've kind of come to know, and I'm sure, like, well, I know some friendships have ended over this, and that's okay, because I've come to realize that not only did they not support me or want to see me succeed, they're trying to hold me back. And like, you get hit with so many things, and it's like it's this realization that you come to that's like, wow, okay, what I thought was really isn't, and this is my life and my family. And even Tanya Eliza one time in one of her videos said that she, nobody else is paying her bills, and so like, you're doing this to pay your bills, you're doing this to make your life, and nobody's doing that for you. So yeah, I agree. And it's those stories that pull me, and I find it funny because I had to recently go, well, not recently, it's been a few months now that I've had to go back to work, and I'm doing it in the evenings and nights, right? So I find that I'm actually getting more done for my business now than I was when I had all day to do it. And so yeah, it's that drive that's like, okay, no, I'm not going back this route. I'm gonna make this work somehow. So
yeah, you've got to have a master plan for yourself, and you've got to be able to see yourself in the bigger place without comparing yourself to someone who's already there. You mentioned Ray Higdon a few minutes ago, and I started working with him and his team my first go in the industry. So I've really been working with the same people the whole time, and it's really valuable to identify people who have achieved a level of success that you want for yourself. But it is also just as critical to understand that you're the same. If they could do it, you can too. There's nothing extraordinary or special that anybody has that you don't have or can't develop for yourself. excellence is something that's it's not nature, it's nurture, and you can create whatever you want with who you are, and you could do even better than that person that you're looking at that's got all the success that you want. So so yeah, if you do that and you're consistent, you've just got a plan and you hammer it out. And yeah, if you've got a job, man, like I kind of feel like I would be better with my time too, like if I had another thing that I did. So I've started like regimenting my schedule. I'm a really kind of blue, fly by the seat of my pants, easygoing personality. And so I hate schedules and the clock in general. But I'm having to really kind of regiment myself because I remember in the beginning it was all just frenzy of work, frenzy of activity. I didn't know if what I was saying was going to work. I was like, verbal vomiting in people's inboxes on Facebook. There's people that I'm sure had all kinds of funny opinions of me because of the way that I approached them in this kind of weird way, because I'm like, oh, well, it's MLM and they might not like it, and and I cared what they thought. And then it's grown over time. So what you're doing right now may not be the perfect thing, but the perfect thing is not going to come to you until you go and you do the work and you do the work and you do the work. And for me, because I had nothing else, I spent 14 hours a day on Facebook some days. Just, okay, I've got to meet 20 new people. 5 people have to watch this presentation today. And that was the only, I had no budget to, go meet people at Starbucks and buy a $4 latte. Couldn't put gas in the car to do that. I had Facebook, and I was like, okay, talking to 5 people a day, I'm going to meet 20 new people and start conversations with them. And so I'm just chatting all day. And I did that until I saw results. And then I turned around and I started kind of tweaking and getting better and, adding more to the pot. And, and then there were breakthroughs along the way, and you get better. And then people are like, oh, well, you do this. I want to learn how to do this from you. And it just kind of, it goes on from there. It's like dominoes.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's what's awesome is watching in the group, and you're in there all the time welcoming someone. It's it's so awesome. You are sometimes it's wow, you're still the hardest worker on your team. It's just amazing. You're a perfect example. And your team momentum, I don't know a lot about your specific team, but just in the group that we're in. Yes, I know. Yeah. She wants to be in on this.
Hi.
Say hi. Just the way that you handle your team, that momentum, is it just your positivity that does that, or was that something that you learned over time to be able to manage that team, or have people always sort of gravitated towards you?
That's hard to say. So back in the day, 2 years ago, when I started sending out those messages and prospecting and reaching out to people, I grew a network, and I created relationships, grew influence. Obviously these were people who were already in the networking industry. Tides change, companies change, comp plans change, people make shifts. And over time, through those relationships that I've built, I've had, and this is incredibly humbling to me because I've been a part of the industry for 2 years, and yes, I'm full-time, but I'm nowhere near financially, where my goals are, and I'm nowhere near, a top earner or anything like that in the industry yet. Right?
Right.
These things are happening very quickly. But there are people who I've forged relationships with over time who have come to join me and work on my team who have outperformed me exponentially. People who have been really big deals in other companies before, and it's all about those relationships that I've built over time. But the interesting thing is that if you get really good at becoming really good friends with a lot of people, over time, when people decide that they're looking for a change in their life, or they want whatever benefit that your product offers, they're going to remember you because you're a part of their life, because you've invested in a relationship with them, because you care about them. And and you can go and you can ask for a decision, or they, in a lot of cases, will just come to you and say, hey, so I'm ready to do this, and I want to do this with you. And so, a lot of the active prospecting and stuff that I used to do created sort of a wave of momentum for me. And so, I don't do the same activities that I used to do, which again is why it's really important, like you mentioned, to not have compare-itis, because the things that I do on a day-to-day basis now don't look much at all like what I did 2 years ago getting started and building myself up to the momentum and the the brand really that I have now. And so, so yeah, so far as the team goes, like we've just got this really cool culture. We do group hangouts and stuff like that. You know, we connect with one another. It's not necessarily all about, you know, structure and who's under who and organizational this and that. There's no hierarchy or anything. Like we're a team, and you know, we all work together, care about each other, mastermind on things together, and yeah, I don't know. I think, and this is the first time I've really built a team in network marketing, but I really think that the team that you build, if you go about it the right way, is kind of a reflection of who you are and how you would want your life and your world to be. And so, you know, I'm just incredibly blessed to have somehow managed to surround myself with people that are way better than me at all kinds of different things that I don't do, and people that I just love to hang out with. Like, and I guess this is kind of important too, so far as like the culture and energy and stuff is concerned. Don't go for just anybody. You know what I mean? Like, I personally would not bring someone onto my team that I wouldn't have at my dinner table. You know, and when I've done,
Yes.
you know, when I have done that in the past, when it's somebody who would not necessarily fit in with my people at my table, like it hasn't worked out well for me. Like, not every sale is worth it. It's good to remember that.
Yeah, and I've totally like learned from you guys that way, because even though I'm in that very beginning building stage, there have been a couple of people that I've said no to, and it's been hard, but it's like I know that the effort that would be put into that relationship and the negativity that was coming out of that person, I was just like, I can't have you in my life, like, you know,
Yeah,
you're just
absolutely.
not a fit for me. So it was hard to say no, but it's listening to you guys and being like, okay, well, who do I want to be like? I want to be like you guys, so I'm going to follow what you're going to tell me to do, right?
And that's exactly what you've got to do, no matter where you are. I mean, there's people that I currently, you know, look to and model in terms of my own brand and the way that I would want to build and the way I want to inspire people. You know, you always have to have your eyes set on something that's much bigger than where you are. It's funny, on the topic of not every sale being worth it. One of the analogies, my friend Daniel and I were talking the other day, and he's in another company, and he's been in the industry for a long time. And and I'm actually going to be making a video about this soon, about being selective in your prospecting and having that posture, because when you have posture, like, listen, I don't need you, it really changes the dynamic of your communication with people. But one of the things that he said, he's like, do you really want the in-laws? Because we were talking about prospecting and people with big followings and stuff on Facebook. Maybe there's marketers that, you know, that have followings that are in other companies, and you talk about maybe, you know, establishing relationships to maybe potentially recruit that person because they've got influence, they've got a network. Obviously, you know, who wouldn't want to have a networker in their organization that could go and very easily blow things up? But I was like, listen, like, I don't know that I want, like, this particular person, I just don't think I want their following, you know what I mean? Like, they just don't really jive with me. He's like, yeah, do you really want the in-laws? So it's like you're getting married, right? I'm married to my team. I'm in love with my team. And yeah, like, I wouldn't want to bring somebody in. I mean, obviously, like, it's not marriage, but I like the analogy, though, because you're also bringing in potentially that person's network and their network and so on. And so you always want to make sure that that's it's elevating the energy and the momentum, and, you know, improving things for everybody. So yeah,
Right.
yeah. I like who did I learn this from Ray? I don't remember. Talking about prospecting tens. So everybody wants a 10 in their business, but if you're a 2, you know, 2s
Right.
can only really recruit 1s, or if you're like a 6, you can only get 5s and below, and so you want to aim for, you know, the 10s.
Right. Right. Yes, I heard that once too. I can't remember where I heard it either, but yeah, I thought of that and I was like, wow. So I mean, that's why it's so important to build yourself up first, right? Like, don't go out there thinking that you're going to get all these awesome people when if that's not where you are. If people don't see you that way, you can't get those people, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and
Sorry,
then you also, you're fine. I've been there. Mine's older, and she still makes all kinds of noise like that. She's in school right now, though. And on that note, actually, you know, you want to think about how your team is your family. You know, are these people that you would be proud to associate with? Obviously, first and foremost. would you be cool with these people being like with your kids being exposed to the people that you're working with? You know,
Yeah,
from a parent's perspective.
no kidding.
You know,
Exactly.
I think a lot of people really shortchange themselves on their posture because they're coming from a place of need. You know, needing to make a sale, feeling like they need more money so they can go full time or whatever it is that they're looking for, and they don't take on the posture that they should. And
Yeah.
so, you know, if somebody is a waste of your time, or if somebody is just, you know, doesn't fit in with the values that you have, or the culture of your team, or the culture of the team that you would want to build, then, you know, keep moving. And you can stand
Yeah.
a little taller, you know, feel a little stronger because it's not need.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I've noticed because I've been in it for a while now, um, I've noticed that some people that you kind of watch that have taken in anybody that they possibly can, like those people that are just like, sign up with me. I'll pay for you to sign up with me. Just do it, right? And I've kind of sat back and watched a few people that I've seen do that, and then all of a sudden they're coming around again with some other opportunity because their whole team has fallen apart, and they're just trying to grab at anything, and you just feel like saying like just slow down and like work on yourself first. But I mean, there's going to be those people out in the industry all the time, right?
Yeah, yeah, totally. And when you bring people on board your team, I mean, it's no longer about you. You know, it's no longer about your income. Like you've got people that, you know, that have committed to working with you because they see something in you that they would want for themselves, or they just know that they would like to work with you, and you have similar goals. And you know, and it's not about you anymore. And so it becomes more about, you know, how can I help these people that have aligned themselves with me the most? And and again, like it shifts the dynamic, it shifts the posture. You know, you think differently. You have to change the way that you think to get different results. You know, if you take the same old actions, you think the same old ways, you're going to get what you've always had unless you're willing to do something that you haven't done before. So that mindset shift it can be really challenging for a lot of people, I think, getting in. But if you're connected to a big enough reason why you would be doing any of this in the first place, and that's something that's strong enough to propel you out of bed in the morning, you know, and to shrug things off when you've got people that you care about, that, you know, honestly, that care about you, that think they're looking out for your best interest, you know, to try to keep you inside the box that they like to keep you in. It really takes a different way of thinking, and if you commit to it and you do the right work day to day, you can do whatever you want with this. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think like for me, it was making that switch. I mean, our team is just amazing. I think like I know that I will never leave this team, right? Because if you can find that family where even if you don't have your team built up, it makes me jump out of bed just to think of the opportunity and to see what you guys are doing, and that I get to actually interact with people that I respect so much, right? And there's not that feeling of, oh, well, I'm not that comfortable with this person, because I've had that in my upline before where I wasn't that crazy about them and tried to do everything on my own because I didn't really respect them, so I didn't really want to do things the way they were. And I mean, that was really confusing for me, and I think mentally you can't build something with that sort of mindset, right? So it's
No.
such a switch, and I've been trying to kind of get that through on my blog. Like if you're in that feeling where you're spending tons of money on an auto ship and you're not happy with where you're at, but you're trying to do all these little tricky ways of building your business by putting your husband on and paying, like, I've been there and done that. So it's like that shift of just like, maybe that one isn't for you, but you can still do this somehow, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, the team is so important, and we're so incredibly blessed. I think about this every day, how incredibly blessed I know that I am to have aligned with the right people the first time. I
yeah,
think I attribute to them largely, to my mentors, to the people that I've been working with since I started in this industry. That they're the reason why I've been able to grow the team that I have. I mean, obviously, my own work, my own growth. Yes, I do that. I've done that, and I will take some credit for that. But it's their guidance and their example that shapes me. And so if you aren't working with an amazing team, if you aren't working with great examples to follow, I mean, of course, everything is still possible, but it's just so much more fun and easy and fulfilling to know that you don't really need to look elsewhere, for inspiration or for guidance, or just to have people for your new folks to plug in with and follow and connect with. Anybody that we work with on the team that we're on, I'm more than thrilled for anybody that I bring on board to say, yes, go talk to that person. Oh, they're in your local market here. Let me find somebody from the team that's, that's close to you. We've got people that, that have established amazing, you could say cross-line, sideline, whatever, friendships. But really, I mean, it's just we're all part of a team, and we do this stuff together. We are each other's social proof. Even if you're not monetarily benefiting somebody, we roll with this together. And, and the vision is bigger in a group. The power is bigger in a group. And, yes, you certainly can go out and build whatever you want to, whatever you can from nothing. But, man, it's so much more fulfilling to be working with amazing people.
Yeah. Exactly, and people you can trust, and there is no worry that way at all.
Yeah, I've heard horror stories about just like shisty upline drama, and my head spins. Like, I talk to some of my clients, I'm like, I'm a surrogate upline to some people. Like, actually, people hire me to be kind of like a surrogate upline, to give them like coaching and guidance and strategy on on posturing and prospecting and stuff like that. And the kind of stories that I hear, man, oh my God! Like, the beautiful thing about this industry is that anybody can do it, and then the ugly thing about this industry is that anybody can do it.
Yeah. Exactly. I know. I've heard some just crazy stuff too, and I mean, probably not near as much as you've heard, but yeah, just I can't imagine having everything fall apart because somebody took it away from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have friends. Obviously, I've made a lot of wonderful friends in the industry who are in every company you can imagine, and when things kind of don't work out, whether it's a launch that kind of fell through, or or a team that kind of fell apart. You hear these people who, or at least I do, who have been a part of something. They were excited about it. They know they love the industry. They know this is something that they want to do, but they struggle with the idea of building again, because they're like, man, it's so hard, and it's so this, it's so that, it's so stressful, it's so this, and I'm over here like, it is.
Because you absolutely love it, right?
I love it, and I think the people that you work with, obviously play a huge role. I mean, there's a bajillion reasons why you would pick a company or choose to align yourself in a particular way, but yeah, I think the team is really biggest part of that, because my team it's so much bigger than just me and the people that my folks have brought in. It's mentors that we have. It's people that inspire us, that are in the same company as us, but on the other side of the world, on the same team. We're not financially benefiting one another, but we're in this together, and it truly is a team atmosphere. I think a lot of people kind of throw it around like, just because you're in the same organization does not by default make you a team.
No, exactly. And so many people miss that because they still focus on themselves instead of building that atmosphere and that welcoming environments, right, where you just honestly care about everybody, and that's what's missing in a lot of them.
Yep, totally.
And I think a lot of people will come around to that, right? And I'm finding so you're a perfect example of somebody who built your business using Facebook in the beginning, and I think building those relationships, so many people give up if you're not recruiting somebody right away through Facebook, but it's that people are watching what you're doing, and so you can talk to 10 people today and maybe not even show any of them anything, but you've made that connection, and then they're respecting you and watching what you're doing. And when those things happen, because you can kind of tell where somebody's at just from talking to them, regardless of what they're saying. You can or you can look at somebody's timeline and see some of the things that they're saying that they're not telling you, and you can know what's going on. And eventually they're going to come around, right? So it's taking the time to build those relationships. And
Yep. And if you're not coming from a place of need and you're just truly interested in other people, then a lot of the times, the dominoes just fall in your favor. The people that you like, and that like you, the ones that you would be the best kind of friends with, they ultimately come and show up with their decision already made. in a lot of cases, because because you care about them, and of course if you care about somebody else, they're going to in turn care about you too. It's just kind of the way that we work as humans. And and they pay attention to what you're doing. People who say no when you share something with them, 6 months later, we'll see that they're still in the same place, and you're doing something very different. You've got something going on in your life that's improved, regardless of whether or not you've hit your income goals yet. Your quality of life is better. Like you mentioned, just by virtue of being a part of this, you're happier. You're more motivated. And people want more of that in their lives. And so even if it's not now, later on down the road, if your true intention is just to know people and to serve people and to help people, these things, they fall into place. I'm just blown away by all of the folks that I work with. Some of them have truly turned out to be some of the best friends I've ever made in my life. And, if it were not for this, we wouldn't have met each other. And I mean, we're like, some of us are so much alike. It's crazy. You grew up there and I grew up here, but we're into the same things and we laugh at the same stuff. And these are some of my favorite people to spend time with and hang out with, are the folks that are on my team. And it's bizarre when you think about like building a business online, starting out with people that you don't know, outside of your local warm market friends and family. You really can. You can build something incredible.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I found like what kind of surprised me is I don't know, like I think for people that are either going to make it in this industry or are making it, like we said, you have to be a little bit crazy, but there's something in you, right, that's just a little bit different. And I think like once I started to connect with people and be like, oh, these are my people, like you guys get me, or like like it's just like, wow, the friendships that I've made online, I don't know, some of them are pretty intense already, and I haven't even met some of these people, right? And it's just like you feel like these kindred spirits, and it's pretty awesome. So there's just something about you kind of just, if you have the same energy as someone, you kind of come together and you're like, wow, it's amazing that you can connect like this with people.
Yeah, it's such a wonderful thing, and I'm really grateful too that this is something that's come into my life, not just so that I can live the way that I would want to live, and kind of live on my own terms, not have an income cap, all of the great things that the industry provides, but what has really moved me the most, and what I really feel the most gratitude for, is how this has changed me and made me a better example of a woman and of a mother for my daughter.
Yeah.
She would have always seen me, as a survivor, as a strong person, as someone of integrity, all these kinds of things. But the way that I've had to shift my mindset to become successful in this, it's changed the way that I parent, and it's really created a circumstance where I know that, I know she's proud of me. She doesn't necessarily know why she's 7, but I know that she is going to have a dramatically different life than she would have otherwise. Even if I were somebody who just wanted to skate and kind of coast at the level that I'm at right now, if I wasn't aiming for something much, much larger like I am, even at this level, with just for someone who just wanted to maybe supplement an income or to just to be a little more comfortable or whatever, the level of self-development that you have to do to get to this point, to get to any level of success in any size team in the business, not like the biggest and the top of the comp plan necessarily, but anywhere along the way, it's going to improve, who you are as an individual, and in turn, what that means for your kids, what they see as being possible for themselves. The possibility of, like, if you come, like I have, from a family who, generation after generation, no college graduates, a lot of poverty in the family tree, going way back, like, you can change the course of thinking and the direction of your family, the legacy of your family into the future, and you don't even have to necessarily be a top earner in the industry to do that. It's a mindset shift, So my daughter is not going to grow up thinking that there's a specific thing that she, okay, well, I have to get good grades, go to school 9 to 5, trade my life for this. Like, if she finds something that she loves and she wants to, that's fine. But she already knows that this exists. And and she knows that she knows that she can do anything by virtue of having seen her mother do it. So I love what this has done for me as a parent.
That's awesome. I agree so much. Like I think like with my daughter, just having you say that, it's made me realize I think even if I never, well, I will hit I will do what I want to do, but even if I didn't, um, the fact that I changed my language with her, and not that I wasn't aggressive, and I always thought I was a super positive person, but I didn't realize how many negative things I said during the day, or like, you're driving me crazy, or you're such a drama queen, or stuff like speaking
Hmm.
those things into her life. And I stop myself now, like I'll take a step back before I'm about to say something and think, how do I turn what I want to say, even though it's criticism or it's trying to correct something, how can I say it in a positive way that's still somehow building her up instead of taking her down? And it probably, like, I don't want to get emotional, but it made me realize that in her first 5 years of life, how much damage I could have possibly already done. And so now I'm just trying, like, it makes it, and I mean, I know all moms have the same struggle and everybody does it, and but it's just, yeah, it made me realize how much different her life is going to be now, because I've realized those kind of things, and if I can at least even just change that, then I'm successful in my eyes, like, it's
Yep.
just awesome.
Yeah, it's leaps and bounds already, and I totally get you in the same place because she was two when I found out I was getting a divorce, and and of course all of the stress that comes from that, and as a parent trying to protect them from what's going on, and don't let them see you cry or break down or whatever. There's a lot of stress, man. I've never felt more stress in my life than I did during that period of time where I was not only fighting to keep her, but just to survive, and then of course to figure out what was next. And I mean, just thinking back on it, I'm like, man, I could do anything
Yeah.
after that. But yeah, I mean, I think back to the way that I would lose my cool, and just the way that I responded to stress, and the way that I responded to her as a result of stress.
Yeah.
And I obviously it's not unique to massive struggle like I had during that period of time, and that I've had over the course of this growth of these past couple of years. But this is something that happens in every family, and they're usually in a family situation, you don't seek improvement until there's a problem.
Right.
And with something like this, you're seeking improvement because you want improvement in life. And so I don't know, it's been amazing, and uh, I just couldn't be more grateful for having found what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in your story of struggle, I can't imagine how hard that was. And I think everybody, like, listening to your story, somebody might be, well, I can't relate to that because that's not my situation right now. This is my situation. Well, struggle is struggle, and everybody has their struggle. And if you're going through that, you're building your story, and that's kind of what I realized when I first had to go back to work. I really kind of went into not a dark place, but just I was crashing. I was like, how I can't, how am I going to do this? And then I realized I looked at it a different way, and I'm like, I'm building my story. And as things hit me during the day, or as I'm super stressed and tired, I'm like, okay, I start to hear my story from stage, and I start to hear myself sharing this with people and how this is going to change people's lives, right? And that eventually someday somebody's going to be coming to me saying, what you said affected me, and that's where I was at, and thank you. And so I'm building that, right? And so if somebody's in that right now, they can just stop and think, like, how can you use this? How can you build yourself from this? You're starting from scratch, but you can do it. And you're just an awesome story of that. I appreciate you sharing with us how much, like, just raw. I love that about you. You're honest, and you don't hide anything, and you're so genuine. And I mean, that's why people love you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I suppose I've earned it. There's been a lot that I've been through in the past couple of years. And of course, life wasn't necessarily super easy before then either. But I was definitely blessed to have amazing parents who worked very hard to give us every opportunity that they could. So so I've by no means had, like, by what I would consider a hard life, but definitely a few incredibly hard years. And I wouldn't. It's funny, you go through pain, you go through struggle, and so many people, they carry it like a weight on their shoulder, or like a badge for their ego. But I'm just grateful for it. I'm still like to this day, like dealing with the financial repercussions of everything that went down, and like having to change tax forms and just all kinds of stuff. And I mean, that was like 4 years ago that the whole thing started. So I mean, there's still residual stuff left from it now, but I'm just grateful, because if I hadn't been through what I'd been through, if I hadn't hit that rock bottom place, I might not have sought something out to change my life, and and who knows where we'd be right now. So yeah, it's been an amazing time, an amazing journey with awesome people.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just respect that so much, because I feel the same way. Like, I know that as bad as things could be right now, I know that I could be in a much worse place. So it's grabbing onto people and just kind of following them. So I think like people should, if they're not already connected with you, be connecting with you, following you, watching what you're doing and saying and how you interact on social media. You're positive and you support people, but at the same time you don't take any BS, which I love. And and I mean, but you have people following you and like commenting on the stuff that you put, because you're doing that and you've totally postured yourself. So if anybody's out there looking to kind of figure out how to be on social media, I think you set a good example for that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, thanks. Do you have any advice for moms to make it work from home? I know you said, like, and I'm the same way, I don't like schedules. I don't, but for anybody going right now through that struggle of trying to make it all balance and wondering whether or not they can do this, do you have any kind of last word of advice?
Yeah, schedules.
Yeah.
Schedules, and schedules and be incredibly tight with your time. It's, as mothers in particular, we want to be very giving, very nurturing. We can sit and just talk forever. You have to be close with your time. If it means that you're using an egg timer, like a kitchen timer, and timing activities, giving yourself 15 minutes for a phone conversation, whatever, making people schedule it with you, be tight with your time, because that time is not just yours. It belongs to your kids, to your family as well. And you want this to enrich your life, but you don't necessarily need it to become your life to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Good points. Which I'm learning.
It's a growing thing. I still deal with it. I'm not perfect.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, I mean, you get sucked into that Facebook world, right? But somebody recently had said just set certain amount of times for Facebook and get what you need to get done on Facebook, and then turn it off. And it's like, okay, yes, I've got to turn that off, because those little pings while I'm doing something else, it's like, oh, what's happened? I got to look and see. And it's like, just get off there.
Yep, squirrel.
There's other stuff. But, well, thank you so much. I'm going to put your Facebook page in the blog post. It's just Ashley Hendricks, right? Your Facebook page?
Yeah, it's that's, well, oh, you're talking about my fan page or my personal page? Mm-hmm. Okay, so my fan page is facebook.com/follow Ashley. And then and I do some posts there, but most of what I do, and I'm actually gonna have to move because I'm not plugged in, and I'm gonna like lose my battery.
Oh no, I'm it's because I went so long. I don't know if we lost her, maybe. It paused in a really good picture, though, so that's good. You did make a mess. I don't know if I'll get her back or not. Do you want to show everybody what you were doing? Come here. My son got into the lipstick while I was talking. Come here. Look at this. Look at you. Can you see yourself? Look at that. That's a lot of lipstick. Oh, yeah. That's what babies do. I saw you in my purse.
Me and my table.
Yeah.
Me and my.
You are a mess. Is it time for a bath?
Okay.
Yeah.
Me back.
You bath.
Me back. Book. A bath. Back.
Oh my goodness, hey. Oh, wow. Okay, so
was
I
in the
was
lipstick.
on like, I don't know, 3% or something like that, and it just went.
Oh no. Well, we got you back.
Hi, sweetie.
Look at who got into the lipstick.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty funny.
So proud too.
Time for a bath. Well, I really appreciate you doing this for me. And actually, I don't know that I stopped the broadcast.
No,